Hi guys, Buddy here. Thanks for watching my YouTube video, and today we don't have a AFL player or a coach. We have an umpire, Razor Ray. Hi guys, Buddy here. Today we have Ray Chamberlain, AFL umpire of 350 games, including 3 grand finals. Thanks, Mr. Chamberlain, for taking my call. I hope you are well.
Buddy, I am exceedingly well, and can I just say thank you very much for giving me a shout, mate. I feel privileged, to be honest. This is great.
That's good to hear. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
You can ask me whatever you like, mate. The floor is yours. Go for broke.
Excellent. You grew up in Canberra. How did you get into umpiring AFL football?
Mate, it was by accident. So my dad was meant to take me to get registered when I was 5 to play footy, and I was meant to play rugby league because that's what all the people in my family did. But my dad had lots of jobs, right? He was always working, my dad. He worked very hard. And so Mum got cranky one day because he hadn't taken me down, and she went and she signed me up, and there was this big sign at this oval, and it said football registration today. So I signed up, and I trained for the next 6 weeks with my new best friends, and I was only 5 at the time, 5 years old, and my coach's name was Mr. Minucci. I still remember him. He was such a nice man, and I got all my new friends, and then it came time for my first game, and so my dad came to watch my first game, but he didn't realise that I'd been signed up in Aussie rules. He thought I was rugby league, and he turned up, and it was a different type of field and different posts. And he's looked at Mum, and he's gone, what have you signed the boy up to here? So they're now the biggest fans of Australian rules football. And then I got into umpiring by accident as well, mate. I went and watched my brother play. He's a bit younger than me, so I was 17, and he was 12. And no umpire turned up to the game. And so the president of our club said, I just got a new car, and he said to me, I'll fill your car up with petrol this week, and I won't let anyone yell at you and be mean if you umpire the game. So I said, that's a deal. And there was a man there, and he saw me umpiring, and he came over and introduced himself, and he said, I think you're pretty good at this, mate. And we had a bit of a chat, and then and it went from there, and that's how I got into umpiring.
You wear number 18 on your top. Any reason why this number?
Yeah, well, I always tell the umpires before me who wore it, who wore number 18. The reason why I wear it is because they needed to have a good umpire in that shirt finally. But that's not even remotely true because the guys before me were legends and really nice men. So what happens is there's 34 listed umpires on our list, 1 to 34. And when I got on the list, there were only a couple of numbers that were free, and that was the number I got presented with. So I didn't get to pick it, but I used to play footy in the number 2. But that one was already taken by an awesome umpire at the time. So I couldn't get that one because he was doing grand finals in it. And so, yeah, number 18 is mine, mate. So it was just a random thing.
Back in 2004, you started in the AFL as an umpire. So did Matt Stevick and Simon Meredith both these guys have umpired more games, more finals, and more grand finals, but you are more well known. Why do you think this is?
Probably because I'm better looking, buddy, than those two blokes. They're better umpires, but I'm better looking. Nah, look, they're the best. So they're the best umpires, and they're my friends. And I'm so lucky that I got to umpire at the same time as them. We all umpired in the VFL together, and so before we got to the AFL, and they got on at the start of 2004. They got promoted, and I didn't get on. I was still in the VFL. And then a spot came up later in the year, and I got a phone call, and the AFL said, we want to put you onto our list. So I didn't I didn't start as early as them. I did my first final before they did, and I did my first grand final before they did. And then I had some injuries, and they have literally, those two men have owned AFL umpiring grand finals since then. It's like their property. They're just the best. And do you know, buddy, I'll give you a quick story, mate. Simon Meredith, Matthew Stevick, who are the Guns, right, and me, I'm just an also-ran, we've only ever umpired in an AFL game together once in 20 years. 12, is it now 18 years? 18 years umpiring in the AFL, and we've only ever been able to do a game together once. I just, for the life of me, can't understand that. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think why they are well known, those boys. Why am I more well known? I don't know. There's lots of different reasons for that, but I sort of am trying to take this last little bit while I'm still umpiring. It won't be for much longer, mate. And I'm just trying to let everybody know how cool my colleagues are and how much fun umpiring is. And I think umpires are a little bit misunderstood in our game, and I'd like to try and do something about that before I leave.
That's cool. Your nickname Razor, where did this come from?
Well, there's a couple of stories. I don't know which one's the truth. So I played cricket for Melbourne here. I moved to Melbourne. I didn't know anyone, and a person I was working at a school with, he introduced me to go down and play at Melbourne, and they had guys like Brad Hodge and all that, all these guys who played for Australia. A super duper club, mate. It's the best cricket club. It's just so amazing. And I played there, and I batted with a Grey Nichols razor. And they just knew me as the ump. They didn't even know my name. And then one day, I had a good day and helped us win the game. And it was with batting with my Grey Nichols razor. So they started calling me Razor at the cricket club. Brian Taylor calls me Razor, and I think it's because he thinks I've got the sharpest whistle in the game. So he's sort of been a bit funny about my name and razors and sharp and all that sort of stuff. So I think it was Brian Taylor who sort of made it something that was a bit of a thing.
You have umpired 3 grand finals, a drawn 1 Collingwood versus St Kilda, and the replay in 2010, plus Tigers versus Giants in 2019. What was the best?
That's a really cool question. So I would say to you the draw was amazing, and it was kind of the best for 2 reasons. It was epic, and some of my favourite players, and this is on both clubs, Nick Maxwell, Dane Swan, Scott Pendlebury, these sorts of Heath Shaw, who I just think's brilliant. These sorts of guys played for Collingwood, and then Lenny Hayes, who I just admire so much, and Nick Rewalt, Del Santo, Montagna, these guys who were playing for St Kilda. So that was really cool, and it was a draw, and so that was super exciting because that's only ever happened once before and will never happen again. So that was kind of cool, right? And then, and it was my first. So that was super exciting for my family, and it was kind of like the pinnacle for me. And then, as I was saying earlier to you, I got hurt, mate. I hurt my knee, and I had to have surgery, and it was no good. And I didn't think I was ever going to be able to umpire again. So to then come back and 9 years later reach the pinnacle again to umpire another grand final was very satisfying for me, and something that I'm really proud of. And very grateful for the AFL for giving me a chance to do it again. So I think the first one, buddy, was what I'd say, but the last one was kind of cool for different reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a Swan supporter and know Tom Papley's family. Is he one of the most vocal players in AFL?
So my mum and dad are Swan supporters, buddy. They're mad Swan supporters. They love the Swans. My mum loves Lance Franklin, and Isaac Heaney's her new favourite. She's very fond of Isaac. And my favourite player at the Swans was Nick Smith, and I'm not sure whether you remember him or not, but he was my favourite player at the Swans. Tom Papley is a gun. I didn't realise you knew his family. I like Tom Papley for a couple of reasons. I like him because he's not much taller than me. I like him because he's got super skills and kicks unbelievably good goals. And I like him because he's super competitive, right? He really wants to win. And there's a bit about me that likes that. But yes, mate, he does chirp up a bit. There's no doubt about that.
I like Isaac Heaney too. What is the best or worst thing you have heard from a player or supporter?
I remember. You know what? Lots of it's just noise, mate. But the funniest thing I ever heard was because my name's Chamberlain, right? And there's a funny old story. I think this is reasonable to tell a 9-year-old. So it was suggested to me over the fence that the dingo took the wrong Chamberlain because a long time ago there was a Chamberlain and a young child was taken by a dog, like a dingo. And so someone was saying that potentially that should have happened to me and not that other person. So they were being very nasty, but it was kind of funny as well because of the play on the name. So I did find that humorous. I think most people tease me for my height, buddy. Most people say stand up or how can you see from down there, Ray? those sorts of things. But you know what, mate? I just love how much people love the footy. I love how much they cheer for their teams, and I love how much noise and passion they have at the ground. I think that's the coolest thing. That's why our sport's the best, mate.
What is the best comeback to negative feedback?
Yeah, good one. That's a good question. You know what? Having fun, mate. Having fun. Like, if I was talking to you like you were my kid, I'd say that the best comeback is for you to have fun in your life. So, you know, generally speaking with what I do, the people haven't actually ever met me, man. Like, I've never met them. They don't know who I am or what I'm like, if I'm a good person or a bad person or whatever. They just know this umpire thing. So they don't know me. So I should never allow any of that stuff to stop me for having fun. So I think the best comeback is for a person to continue to do the things they love and continue to find all the joy and fun in their life. I reckon that's the best comeback, mate.
Do you enjoy umpiring with or without the crowds?
Oh, I love the crowds, mate. And look, you know, they give you a bit of stick and they yell and scream and all those things. But when you're at the MCG or Perth or Optus is okay, they've still got crowds. Marvel Stadium or something like that, and it's full and it's a big game and it's close and the crowd's just going bananas. Like, the energy is so exciting and it's so much fun. And I'll be honest with you, mate, it's one of the only reasons I'm still hanging around, because I want to do games when the crowds are back before I leave, because I just miss it so much. So definitely crowds.
What advice would you give a young person looking to take up umpiring?
I'd encourage them to do it because it's such good fun and you learn so much, right? And not just about footy, like how to treat other people and making decisions and how you communicate with people and explain yourself and those sorts of things and work with others. So I think it's really cool for that. There's good money. You can make good money, which always is nice. So then you can buy, you know, things that you want to save up for. So I think that's cool. You get to stay fit. But the advice I'd be is listen to your coaches. Even if they've got some opportunities for improvement or things you're not doing so good, they're not trying to be nasty to you. They just want you to get better. So they're the things I would say to an aspiring umpire. Definitely give it a go. It's super cool. And listen to your coaches.
Fantastic. At the Freeze M&D slide this year, you dressed up as Elton John's Rocket Man. Why?
So there were two reasons. One is I love Elton John. I just think he's the best. And that's a great song too, Rocket Man, by the way. And I actually already had that costume tucked away from something else I had done a year before. And because of COVID, buddy, I was in Sydney and I couldn't get to shops to get a new costume, so I decided I'd rehash it because I hadn't worn it out in public before, only at a party that I'd been to. So I knew I had it there, so I thought it was important to get it out on the stage.
Cool. I know you also raise money for other charities. Tell me more.
Oh, cool. Well, mate, my brothers and I, we have a foundation and we raise money and we give that to organisations that support families who are suffering from grief or loss. Okay, so it's in the mental health area of life. But if, say, somebody's had someone in their family pass away or something bad's happened, these organisations have programs that support the families that are left behind, and particularly young people like yourself. So we raise money and we donate it into programs like that.
That is so good. Finally, tell us something about Ray Chamberlain that most people don't know.
All right. Well, I love dumplings. All right. So that's the first thing. I eat too many dumplings, so I've got to be careful about that. I have a dash hound. I used to have a Kelpie, but she passed away. She was 17. She had a good life. So I love dogs. Dogs are loyal. Dogs are smart. Dogs are fun, and they give the best cuddles. So if you really want to know something, mate, I love dogs. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Razor, for your time. I hope your AFL journey continues and you get to umpiring another grand final.
Buddy, thank you so much for having me. I'll tell you something else I forgot that other people wouldn't know. You and I have the same birthday, born on the same day of the same month. Not the same year, but the same day of the same month. But, mate, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to meet you and your dad. And keep being awesome, mate, all right?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Buddy here. I hope you like my video, and isn't Ray a really terrific, good guy? And I hope you see the next one.